Since AEW's inception in 2019, it has not been uncommon to see blood in their matches, and Vince McMahon of WWE even described AEW as blood and guts and gory things. There's just something so apropos, enticing, feral and frighteningly alluring about seeing two wrestlers go at it and blood gets drawn. And AEW have used this allure to great effect, as some wrestlers bleed more than others. I'm talking about you, Cody Rhodes. But anyway, here are the top 5 most bloodiest matches in AEW history. And at number 5, we have Cody Rhodes vs Brodie Lee 2. The build up to Cody Rhodes vs Brodie Lee 2 was very good, as Brodie Lee squashed Cody Rhodes to win the TNT title, which rode Cody off TV for a while. But then Cody Rhodes returned weeks later and was looking to get the TNT title back. And this set up the dog collar match between Brodie Lee and Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship on the October 7th special edition of AEW Dynamite, celebrating Chris Jericho's 30th anniversary in wrestling. And what a bloody and gruesome spectacle this match was. Not even 30 seconds had gone by, and Cody Rhodes hit John Silver with a chain, and John Silver started bleeding. Cody Rhodes was then next to bleed, obviously. As Brodie Lee DDT'd him onto steel chains. And then Brodie Lee bled next as Cody Rhodes gave him a packaged pile driver through a table. And both men were covered in a crimson mask, especially Mr. Brodie Lee, and the bloody scenery in this match made for some compelling imagery. Cody Rhodes picked up the win, and even though the ending upset a few people, it showed Mr. Brodie Lee's capabilities to deliver in big matches and was very fitting for his last match ever. And at number 4, we have SCU vs the Young Bucks 2. And the story going into this match was if SCU lost, they would have to break up forever. And in the match, Christopher Daniels was on the outside and Nick Jackson super kicked him onto the ring post, which caused him to bleed profusely. He was bleeding really bad. Even the ringside doctors tried wiping away his blood, but this didn't really work as he continued to be a bloody mess, and he even bled all over the Young Bucks Jordans, which were hundreds of dollars. No, not the Jordans.
No! God! No! God, please, no! No!
Christopher Daniels was visibly struggling to get through the match as he was bleeding so much and was very groggy, and he even botched the moonsault, which was really hard to watch. The Young Bucks picked up the win, and they left Christopher Daniels in the middle of the ring, literally in a pool of his own blood. And then after the break, a bloody Christopher Daniels hugged his comrade Frankie Kazarian for the last time as a team. It's insane how all the blood in this match was solely from Christopher Daniels. Christopher Daniels' eye after this match was also in pretty bad shape, presumably because of the lack of oxygen supplied to his eye, as the cut was right above his eye. And at number 3, we have Britt Baker vs Thunder Rosa 2. The lights out match between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa was the first ever women's main event in AEW history, and the build up to this match was really good, as there were many great brawls and segments between the two. And in their first match, Britt Baker got the win, but the feud shined the brightest in their second match, which was a lights out match. This lights out match blew expectations out of the water, and this brutal and bloody encounter between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker will be remembered for a long time. Thunder Rosa got busted open after Britt Baker curb stomped her into steel steps, and Britt Baker got busted open after Thunder Rosa drop kicked her by the bottom turnbuckle of the ring with a ladder across Britt's face. This cut Britt Baker open pretty bad, and she was bleeding profusely throughout the match. Britt Baker also ended up getting thrown onto thumbtacks by Thunder Rosa, which caused her back to bleed as well. And by the end of this match, the ring canvas was covered in blood. Thunder Rosa walked away with the victory, but this match did more for Britt Baker than it did for Thunder Rosa, as Britt Baker's crimson mask accompanied with a sadistic look on her face was iconic, and it sold a bunch of t-shirts. Britt Baker basically became a merch freak. Merch freak! This match is arguably the greatest match in AEW women's history, and it was a hallmark match in AEW because it showed that women have a place in hardcore wrestling, and that given the chance, the women of AEW can shine as bright, if not brighter, as the men of AEW. And at number 2, we have the Blood and Guts match between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. The Blood and Guts match between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle was a bloody affair. The build up to this match was really good, as MJF had just turned on Chris Jericho after almost a year of getting close to Jericho, and he formed the Pinnacle with FTR, Shawn Spears, and Wardlow, and seemingly overnight they became the hottest faction in wrestling. The blood feud between these two groups culminated in the satanic double-sided cage of Blood and Guts, and this match was brutal and bloody. The spectacle of blood in this match was just so overwhelming, as almost every one of the 10 men in this match was bleeding, most notably Cash Wheeler of FTR, who sported a crimson mask throughout the match, and he even muttered to himself, "Stitches are for bitches," and that just shows you of the mindset that these men had when they went into this match. And the ring canvas was absolutely filled with blood by the end of the match. The finisher of this match was also quite memorable, as a bleeding MJF and a bleeding Chris Jericho fought on top of the cage, and MJF threw Jericho off the top of the cage. While the match was awesome, this finish upset a lot of people on the internet, as they felt that Chris Jericho's landing was a little bit too soft. But despite this match really catapulted MJF into the spotlight, as his Crimson Mask closed out AEW's first ever #1 cable ranked Dynamite. This match lived up to the hype because it was every bit as barbaric and bloody that everybody expected it to be. And at number 1, the bloodiest match in all of AEW's history is between Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes at AEW's Double or Nothing 2019. Going into this match, the story was generation versus generation, brother versus brother, attitude era versus modern era. And before the match, everybody knew they were going to get a good match out of Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes, but they did not expect it to be that damn good and that damn bloody. Cody Rhodes seemingly busted Dustin Rhodes open on the exposed turnbuckle, and this caused him to turn into a downright bloody mess, as Dustin was literally pouring out pints of blood. After Cody busted him open, he basically brutalized him from that point on. And watching the 50-year-old Dustin, blinded by blood in his eyes, trying to fight back was a really compelling storyline, which invoked emotion out of everybody watching. The blood in this match really enhanced the story, as Dustin was covered in his own blood, Cody Rhodes was covered in Dustin's blood, and the ring canvas was literally covered with blood. The amount of blood that was in this match left the crowd kind of unsettled, as they were unusually quiet after Cody Rhodes pinned Dustin for the 1-2-3. Everyone watching was just trying to soak everything that had just happened in, as this match invoked a myriad of emotions, from fear to excitement to panic and joy and all of the above. And Dustin and Cody had one of the most wholesome moments in all of pro wrestling afterwards, when Cody Rhodes asked his brother to be his tag team partner, and Dustin accepted. Kinda like this. I need my older brother. But especially considering that this match was at AEW's first ever show, it set a precedence that AEW prioritizes storytelling and that they're not afraid to push the boundaries of pro wrestling. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and a big thank you to everyone for 3,000 subscribers. It's great to see the Legion of Dub is growing. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, you know what to do. But anyway, goodbye.